the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You can put your hand down.
We do have an email notice that we sent to Mr. Simmons to the email address we've got on file for him. The state would offer what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 1.
Ms. Olguin, do you have any objection to this being admitted into evidence today?
No, ma'am.
It'll be admitted, Ms. Laskowski.
All right. The state and Ms. Olguin would ask the court to use the acknowledgement of paternity for the child Ariana to make orders regarding conservatorship and possession and access for Mr. Simmons and the child Ariana. Ms. Olguin would ask for the court to appoint her as managing conservator of the child and Mr. Simmons as a possessory conservator of the child, with Ms. Olguin having the exclusive right to designate the child's primary residence with a geographic restriction to Brazoria and contiguous counties. Ms. Olguin would ask the court to order a possession and access schedule for Mr. Simmons on a step-up basis, beginning with 12 supervised visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays from 1 to 5 p.m. to be supervised by Ms. Olguin, Mr. Simmons' mother, Bridget Simmons, or another competent adult designated by Ms. Olguin. After completion of that period of 12 of those visits, Ms. Olguin would ask for 12 unsupervised visits to occur on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays from 1 to 5 p.m. Next phase of 12 unsupervised visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the last phase of 12 overnight visits beginning at 6 p.m. on the first, third, and fifth Saturday, ending at 6 p.m. on the following Sunday. After completion of all of these visits, Ms. Olguin would ask the court to grant Mr. Simmons a standard possession order. Ms. Olguin and the state would ask for the court to order that the exchange of the child take place at Freedom Park on Downing Street in Angleton, Texas. The state and Ms. Olguin would ask for a retroactive child support judgment against Mr. Simmons for the child Ariana, previously unobligated, in the amount of $21,712, and for the court to order Mr. Simmons to pay that off at the rate of $150 per month, beginning May 1st, 2025. The state would ask the court to order Ms. Olguin to carry health and dental insurance for the children through her employer, with Mr. Simmons being ordered to reimburse cash medical support in the amount of $206 monthly, beginning May 1st, 2025, and cash dental support of $18 monthly, beginning May 1st, 2025, and current child support from Mr. Simmons to Ms. Olguin in the amount of $1,423 monthly, beginning May 1st, 2025. The state and Ms. Olguin would also ask for a non-disclosure of Ms. Olguin's contact information in the court order, and that she not be ordered to update Mr. Simmons with any of her contact information should it change. Lastly, the state would ask the court to order court costs assessed against Mr. Simmons as billed by the Brazoria County District Clerk, and for Mr. Simmons to pay those on or before the 8th of April, 2026. That is the extent of the state's request for relief at this time.
Let me call your first witness.
All right. The state would first call Ms. Sweeney.
I didn't know Miss Sweeney was going to
I'm-
testify, so I'm gonna have to swear her in. Miss Sweeney, can you state your name for the record?
Madison Sweeney.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
You may put your hand down. You may proceed, Miss Laskowski.
Would you please state your name for the record?
Madison Sweeney.
All right. And where are you employed?
At the Office of the Attorney General.
What is your position there?
I'm a child support officer.
What is the nature of your responsibilities and duties as a child support officer?
I calculate child support and medical support, as well as retroactive child support and medical support.
All right. Did you calculate retroactive child support in this matter?
I did.
All right. And what were your calculations?
Right. So in the year of 2024, 12 months of that with a gross of $15,123.61, a net of $11,260.89. And then with one child on this order and three other to give credit for at 14.5%, equals $16,284. And then the year of 2025, 4 months of a current or of a child support amount of $1,357 at 14.5% as well, equals $5,428. So combined, that would come total to $21,712.
All right. At this time, I'm sharing my screen. And can you tell me what this document is?
So that is a child support retroactive calculation sheet.
All right. Are these your calculations for retroactive support in this case?
Correct.
All right. Is this also a shorthand rendition of the testimony you provided to the court on retroactive support?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And at this time, the state would offer what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 2, their retroactive calculation sheet.
Okay, before I ask Miss Olguin, I just need some clarification, Miss Sweeney. Where did you get the 14.5%? How did you come up with that number?
Judge, if I may, the 14.5% is for one child before the court and three others. That was done because the previously established child in this order, there was no court order for support for that child. So I did this based on one child and no others. And three others.
My understanding of retro is that it is she already got the chance to get retro for the first child. So she doesn't get the full 14.5%. She gets the difference. So this is my understanding, Miss Laskowski, is that so right now, what is the percentage for 2 children before the court and 3 other children under the age of 18?
I believe it is 19%. Let me check.
Okay, so it's 19% for 2 children before the court, 3 other children.
Yes.
Okay, and then for one child with 3 other children, it's 14.75%. Correct, Miss Sweeney?
For one child and three others was 14.75. Yes.
0.75. Okay. So the way I have always understood it, it's the difference of the 19% and the 14.5. So
Yes, you're right, Judge.
So the percentage point she should be getting each month is 4.25%. So if that's the case, Miss Sweeney, how would that change for the retro?
1 second.
Yeah, take your time. And Miss Laskowski, because it's different, I'm not going to admit that sheet.
All right.
Let
Thank
us
you,
do
Judge.
some calculations real quick, Miss Olguin, and then we'll explain what's going on.
Okay.
Yes, so it would be 92 9,200 for a cap off of $391 times 16 months in total. So that would come to an amount of $6,256.
$1,256. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Olguin. They did the calculation wrong on the retro. So you can only ask for up to $6,256 in retro. Their calculation was a little off. I'm gonna let Miss Laskowski ask you about that. Or you're still on Miss Sweeney. So go ahead, Miss Laskowski.
Ms. Sweeney, did you calculate current child support in this matter?
Yes.
And what were your calculations for current child support?
So based on a monthly gross of $9,978.79, giving credit for $224. With 2 children on this order and 3 other, he will be receiving credit for. The net would be $7,492.59. 19% of that would equal a total of monthly of $1,423.
And I'm going to share my screen with what's been marked for identification purposes as States Exhibit 3. Can you tell me what this document is?
It's a child support calculation sheet.
Is this also a shorthand rendition of the testimony you provided to the court about current support?
It is.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, the state would offer what's been marked for identification purposes as States Exhibit 3, the current child support calculation in this case.
Miss Olguin, do you have any objection to this being admitted into evidence?
No, ma'am.
It'll be admitted, Miss Laskowski.
No further questions for Ms. Sweeney. Pass the witness.
Miss Olguin, do you have any questions of Miss Sweeney based on her testimony?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you may be excused, Miss Sweeney. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can call your next witness, Miss Laskowski.
All right. The state would call Ms. Olguin. Ms. Olguin, are you and Mr. Simmons able to communicate effectively about Ariana and her needs?
We haven't spoke as of recent.
When was the last time you and Mr. Simmons spoke at all?
That was about 2 months ago.
Okay. And how did that conversation go?
Not very good.
All right. Can you tell the court a little bit about what happened?
I was pretty much trying to once again ask him if he was going to have any, if he was going to, when he was going to see his children, if he was going to be providing for them financially, or what was the path, moving forward. And we kind of didn't come to any agreement. If anything, it was more so arguing on his end, and I just hung up the phone after that. And I just didn't even bother with it.
Do you believe it's in Ariana's best interest for the court to appoint you and Mr. Simmons as joint managing conservators of Ariana?
Joint at this moment, no.
All right. Why not?
When it comes to making decisions and taking care of both her and her brother, it's always been me. He's never really been there how he should, especially since she's been born. He hasn't seen her, and I want to say in June, it'll be almost a year that he hasn't seen her. So she doesn't know him.
Do you believe Mr. Simmons is capable of making responsible decisions for Ariana?
No.
Okay. Why not?
I say no because even when it has come to little things, even whenever we were in the hospital and we were having her, I was the one making all the decisions. He pretty much had no say so in anything. And even if you were to ask him, he doesn't know because he really doesn't know her.
You mentioned that Mr. Simmons hasn't seen Ariana since June of 2024. Um, since June of 2024, has Mr. Simmons made any efforts to see Ariana?
We would talk about me bringing her to his mom's or somewhere public so he could see her, and he would always make an excuse on why he couldn't go, or he wasn't available, or it was always an excuse, or he would say he'd forgotten or he lost track of time. So in that aspect, I just stopped pursuing that.
Um, how old is Ariana?
She's one. She turned one in January, so she's one in a couple of months.
Okay. And do you believe a standard possession and access order, unsupervised visitation, overnights, and all of that is in Ariana's best interest?
You said overnights.
Right.
Like, do I feel like he's capable of watching her overnight?
Right.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Do you believe that Mr. Simmons' periods of possession and access should be supervised in any way?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that?
Just because the fact of the matter, she doesn't know who he is. So if she was to even see him, she wouldn't go to him
Okay.
because she doesn't know him.
Okay. Would she recognize him at all?
No.
Okay. Who do you think should supervise these visits?
I'm okay with his mom supervising the visits.
Okay. What's his mom's name?
Bridget Simmons.
And mm, um, where do you think these visits should, or where do you think you should exchange the child?
I'm okay with meeting at a public park to do
Okay.
the exchanges.
How are the children currently insured?
Through me,
Right.
through my employer,
Right. And is that for health, dental, or both?
for both.
All right. And how much does that health coverage cost you per paycheck?
$190 for the medical, and then for the dental, it was 18.
Okay. And how often are you paid?
I'm paid every bi-weekly.
Okay. And how many people are covered on those policies?
My son, Andy, Ariana, and then my oldest daughter.
Are you covered?
And myself. Sorry.
Okay. So is that 4 people?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
2 of these are the children. 2 of those are the children in this order. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if it was just you on those policies, would you still have to pay a premium or would your employer cover your premium?
I would still have to pay a premium.
Okay. Do you know how much that would be?
Not at the top of my head, no, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know if Mr. Simmons is currently employed?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where he works?
To the last of my knowledge, he works for BASF as a process operator.
Do you know what he earns at BASF?
No, ma'am.
All right. Do you know if Mr. Simmons has any additional sources of income?
No.
Okay. Does Mr. Simmons have any other biological children under the age of 18?
Yes.
All right. How many?
3, not including mine too.
Okay. And the three others, does Mr. Simmons have a court order to pay support for any of them?
I believe so.
Okay. How many of them does he have a court order for?
The three of them,
Right.
I want to say. So for Alan, Aiden, and Aaron.
Okay. Is there any family violence between you and Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
All right. And what's happened between the two of you?
Back around this time frame, I want to say May, June, we got into a physical altercation at his home, and I did file a police report against him because he did threaten to kill me. And I have not seen him since then. We have not seen each other face to face at all. Any contact that we've had has been via telephone, and that's about it.
Does Mr. Simmons know where you currently live?
He does know where I currently stay. I am in the process of trying to find another home.
All right. If you were to move from your current address where he knows, do you have safety concerns being required to tell him where you move to?
Yes.
All right. Why does that concern you?
Just because when it comes to his mental, I don't know how he'll react, if what kind of day he has, if he chooses to lash out or get violent again. I just don't want him to know where my new residence would be for that nature.
Has he ever shown up at your residence unannounced?
No.
Okay. Um,
And I have cameras around my house as well as a security system.
right. Since Ariana was born in January of 2024, did you and Mr. Simmons live together at any time?
No.
All right. Since January of 2024, did Mr. Simmons provide you any support for Ariana?
No. Most of the
Okay.
time it was always half. But excuse me, I'm sorry. But majority of the time it was everything, it was through me.
Everything was what?
Everything was pretty much paid for by me. He would try and help here and there, but it wasn't consistent.
Okay. So did he give you any
Like
money
he
at
would,
all for Ariana?
like he would buy diapers or formula, things like that I
Okay.
needed.
Do you have an approximate dollar amount on those things that Mr. Simmons bought for Ariana?
Let's see, a box of diapers costs about $40, and the formula is about $20 a can. So he would buy about 4 cans and then 2 boxes of diapers and wipes. So maybe roughly about 200, 150.
Okay.
Did he only do that once, Miss Olguin, or more than once?
Maybe about twice.
Okay, so he did that twice. Okay.
I say it wasn't consistent because after we split, he went about 2 to 3 months of no contact. So within that time frame, he wasn't helping financially at all. It was just strictly on me when it came to buying formula, wipes, and all of that, as well as taking care of my 2 other ones.
Um, no further questions from the state for Miss Olguin.
Okay. Miss Olguin, what exactly caused what was the nature of this fight that occurred in June of last year? What exactly happened?
He was being unfaithful, and I calmly just told him, hey, it's not working out. Sorry.
Okay.
I told him, you know what, this isn't working out. I'm just gonna get because at that time we were in the process of moving into his home.
Okay.
And I told him, maybe it's best if we just go our separate ways. And I just remember getting up from the bed and starting to gather my things, and that's when he grabbed me and he was just like, you're not leaving me, this isn't gonna happen. And then he proceeded to knock me to the ground, and then he just kept saying that he was gonna kill me. And he was he was he was trying to strangle me. And then I just was screaming for help, and I just told him, I said, I think one of the kids is waking up. And I just remember crying. And at that point, tell you say anything you can
So,
to get out of that situation.
and did you report this to the police, Miss Olguin?
I did. I filed a police report.
Did they indicate if they were ever gonna arrest him or press charges?
They asked me if I wanted to press charges, and in that moment I guess I was still trying to process everything that had happened, because I've never really been in a situation like this. And all I could think about was, this is the father of my kids, and he has other kids, and I don't want to ruin his life or his career or his way to provide. So I filed the police report, but I didn't press any charges against him. I just been keeping myself very distant from him, and I'm surrounded by family, um, so they come and check on me all the time.
So, did y'all ever move in together before then, or y'all were just in the process?
No. Yeah,
Okay.
we were in the process because I have my own home and he owns his own home.
Okay. And has he not been seeing your son at all either since that happened?
No.
Okay, so he's not seeing either one of the children right now.
No, ma'am.
Does he ask to visit with them?
He will ask, he won't follow through with those plans. So it's more like he gets what I don't want and what I want to protect, especially when it comes to my son, because my son is autistic. So I have to deal with a lot when it comes to him. And I just know that the times when I said, hey, I'll meet you here, my sister's with me if you want to come see the children, and he'll be like, yeah, I'll be there, and then he just doesn't show up at all. So, and it's been constantly, that's been the pattern. So I just don't want to force something if he doesn't want to be there for them.
Anything else you want to tell me, Miss Olguin, before I make my ruling in this case?
No, ma'am. I think I've said pretty much everything. I'm sorry for getting emotional.
That's
It's
okay,
just
ma'am.
a lot
That's
to process.
not a problem. I completely understand. Anything else from the state, Miss Laskowski?
No, Judge.
Okay. Okay. The court is going to find that Mr. Simmons was given notice and served, and he should have been here today. He is not, so he is being defaulted. The court will find that there is a prior order from March of 2023 that sets out the visitation for the oldest child, Andy. I'm going to find today that there is an acknowledgement of paternity for your new child, Ariana Bridget Simmons, and it was signed by both you and Mr. Simmons. So he has adjudicated as the father and has a duty of support. This, the court is going to order that this will be a sole managing conservatorship with Miss Olguin as the primary, with a geographical restriction to Brazoria and surrounding counties. Visitation will be as requested by the state and Miss Olguin. There will be 12 visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m., supervised by Miss Olguin or a paternal grandmother or a competent adult of Miss Olguin's choosing. There will be 12 visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. unsupervised. Then there will be 12 visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 9 to 5 p.m. also unsupervised. Then 12 visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday, and then a standard possession order. All pickup and drop off in the future will take place at Freedom Park in Angleton, Texas, and only the first phase of visitation will need to be supervised. I am going to also include that Mr. Simmons needs to provide 48-hour notice of intent to visit via text. If he does not give you 48-hour notice, Miss Olguin, you do not have to show up at the park. Okay.
Okay.
I'm also going to order the parties to use app close for all communication in the future. Child support is going to be set off of gross wages of $9,978.79, giving him credit for 3 other children under the age of 18. So child support will be $1,423 a month beginning May 1st. Medical support reimbursement will be $206 a month for Mr. Simmons, with Miss Olguin to carry health insurance through her employer. Dental support reimbursement will be $18 a month beginning May 1st, with Miss Olguin to carry dental support through her employer. There will be a retroactive judgment of, I'm going to give Mr. Simmons credit for $300 for any wipes, diapers that he gave twice. So the retro judgment will be $5,956. He's ordered to pay that at $80 a month beginning May 1st of 2025. There will be a non-disclosure of Miss Olguin's information in the order today, and any court costs in this matter will be billed to Mr. Simmons. He will have until April 8th of 2025 to pay those off. That will be the ruling of the court. Is there anything I missed, Ms. Laskowski?
Okay, so Ms. Olguin is appointed managing. Is Mr. Simmons appointed possessory?
It's a sole managing conservatorship. So Ms.
Okay.
Olguin is the primary, and Mr. Simmons only has visitation rights.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Olguin, what they're going to do, I'm going to have you just one second. This will be the concluding of the hearing.